Mailman Mechanic here. I have a 2014 Jeep Patriot 2.4 cylinder. This is a mail vehicle. It's used on a rural route, and the brakes are grinding. The brake pads have got so low, and this is something, if you're a person who uses your vehicle for mail delivery, I just go ahead and give you a hint. Doesn't matter what you got on it, very rarely will the little sensors go off to just let you know your brakes are starting to get too low. I don't know what it is. It may be the 1,000 stops we do all day long. They just don't work. So all of a sudden, if you don't keep an eye on it, they'll start grinding. And so today, this one started to grind a little bit, the pads. And what I mean by grinding, the friction material right here, I don't know if you can see that. You see that this is the friction material. This is what actually stops you. This is what is the backing on it, which is the steel plate. So most of these are just glued on, really super duper glue. And this friction material squeezes against the brake rotor here and causes you to slow down. It actually absorbs heat. And so what happens especially when a mail carrier is stopping at least 1,000 times and, within a few hours, this stuff wears down quickly. Now, let me go ahead and tell you, it is not uncommon for a rural carrier to go through a set of front pads in a month and a half. So one of the tips is, if you're going to be a mail carrier, learn how to do your brakes. So this lady doesn't know how to. She asked me to do it. So here we go. We'll make a video on it. On a 2014 Jeep Patriot, you're going to need just a few things. And if you got air tools or electric impact wrench, it's a size 18 millimeter normally for these lug nuts. And then you're going to need a size 14 millimeter wrench or socket wrench to take off the caliper bolts. And this is your caliper. There's your caliper mounting bracket. And right here is a caliper bolt. We will unscrew those and this will slide right out. Okay, so I've already taken the wheel off just to save time. Now the first order of business is to go ahead and get some brake clean. Non-chlorinated brake clean. Most of the time you're going to find non-chlorinated. This is very important because if this is hot, it's pretty warm. If it's chlorinated, chlorine, when it touches something hot, will turn into a gas and it will be very deadly. So this is why most of them will be non-chlorinated, if you ever wonder why it said that. So since there might be asbestos brake dust here, you're going to take this and just spray it down real good. See that stuff going down on my pretty concrete? That's the brake dust coming off of there. And then, neat thing about this is it dries off very quickly. Now, let me go ahead and say something. This is an emergency, basically a pad slap. We're gonna do a quick brake pad change so this carrier can get back on the road tomorrow. This brake rotor is very grooved. And it should be replaced, but let me just go ahead and tell you, I don't care what the other mechanics say, and don't you hold me liable to this, because I'm just saying this is an emergency brake repair. You can run on this. You can run on groove brake rotors, especially if you're a mail carrier. So if you're an individual not using your vehicle for delivery, and no, I'll go ahead and change these out, but these things get grooved, especially for a mail carrier. So the next time she comes around and needs some more brakes, we're gonna go ahead and replace this rotor. Okay, so this is a 14 millimeter. Yours might be a little different. Second thing we're gonna do after we sprayed everything down, please do not use compressed air to blow this off. But once you spray everything down, you take your 14 millimeter, go on the top caliper bolt, and sometimes they're really tight, tough to get off. And you'll be able to just pull it out. There's your top one. I'm going to clean that off. And then your bottom one, which is down here, and just give it a good pull. Okay, and there's the second one. Now, I've learned this over time. Nothing like a good C-clamp. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna press this in. Um, it will back the caliper off some, and I'll be able to take that bracket off fairly easy, or a lot easier than I would have. So I'll just put it on the pad right there, and then back here. And then just crank it down just a little bit. See it squeeze in? And look, it's gonna fall off right now if I don't catch it. And then it pulls right off. Then set it up over like that. Now, here are the brake pads. See how quick that was? Look how thin that is. Now this isn't the one that, oh yes it was. You can see right there where it was grinding into the rotor. I mean, there is almost no brake material left on there. And I think the back one, oh yeah. Now it's not uncommon for the inside one to go even quicker. And look at there. You see it's already grinding. There's nothing really stopping this thing other than just metal on metal. Which that also leads me to want to look at this. Bring the camera right around this way. Can you see the groove right there? I don't know if you can see it, but it's smooth. Well, it's not really smooth, but it's slick. And then it's just dug into the rotor. This will have to be changed out next time without a doubt. But for emergency purposes, and like I said, rural carriers, normally their vehicles, we're going to go through a set of front pads a month, month and a half, 2 months. You might be able to get 3 months out of it, but very unlikely. When that happens, we'll go ahead and change out the rotor. And just to get, if you're doing rotors now, let me just tell you, there's 2 bolts right here that hold the caliper bracket on. All right, we took these 2 off. These are the caliper bolts. This is the caliper mounting bracket. There's 2 bolts right here. You take those off, the whole caliper mounting bracket comes off, and then you see how loose this rotor is? It'll just slide right off. It's just as simple as putting the new one on, putting the caliper bracket back on, and then just do a brake job like normal. All right, so we got a cheapo kit, and it didn't come with new guiding shims. So you just have to clean those off. And where's my spray? Don't spray that in your eye. It burns. Ask me how. It just dries off really quickly. And then what we're going to do, while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to also clean these guiding pins. Brake Clean does a wonderful job of getting the grease off. And then I just take a rag, just wipe them clean. Like so. Now, doesn't really matter which one goes where, but I remember this one with this little black kind of plastic thing on top goes on the top. So it's a good idea to always grease these pins because they slide in and out. If not, and you kind of see it right here, sometimes a pad will start to wear unevenly. And this is kind of normal, but I've seen them where the inside pad is completely gone and then the outside pad will have, a good amount left. That's because these slide pins are not greased up and they're just getting stuck and the pad's not going back. So you want to grease these up with some caliper grease. Just a little bit does it. You don't have to overdo it. And I should have done that next, but we're gonna keep that facing straight up. Okay. Just a little bit on there and it will keep that lubed. And what I like to do, you don't have to, I like to put a little bit of grease right there without touching the rotor. And that just helps keep it sliding. If you get it on the rotor, no big deal, just wipe it off or use some Brake Clean, as you get done. So now, on these, there's no real specific way on how these go on. Some vehicles are picky about that, but these are all exactly the same. So I'll show you how to do it here. So you get one end in, Get that one in, push it in. It's there. Same thing on the inside. Inside's always harder because you can't see. And normally what I do the top and then do the bottom. Now, one other little piece of advice. I like to get this brake quiet. Either comes in a spray, but I really like this because it comes out in a liquid, and I just put it all over here. And this will help reduce a lot of the, you ever hear a vehicle come up and it sounds like a city bus? That's what it is. This kind of cuts down on the vibration, and I'm getting a lot on there. And it just makes it so much quieter. Like I said, I made a mess back here. That's not gonna hurt anything, it's just messy. Like I said, it's an emergency brake job. Now, oh, before I forget, we gotta push the brake piston back in. So, I got a fancy tool, cost me like 20 bucks on Amazon. It goes in there and just moves back. But you say, what if I don't have that? Well, just a good old C-clamp. Take your old wore out brake pad, put it in there, and then you put your piston, and I'm going to show you how. You see, I just put it on that back bolt and put the clamp there and just twist it in. So I'm going to do it this way because this works just as well. And you may not have a fancy tool, but you may have a C-clamp. So you just twist it in. You go all the way back till it just stops. There. Now, I don't suggest adding brake fluid as your brake reservoir goes down. It's designed that way. Now, if you're having add constant brake fluid, you got a leak somewhere. But in between brake pads, especially as a real carrier, you shouldn't need to add any brake fluid. If I did, I will have to squeegee some of that out. So, because when you push this piston in, it pushes that fluid back up to the reservoir. So when I'm done, that should just be topped off and perfectly fine. Okay, now you take this, make sure there's not, oh, look at this. Yeah, that one, yeah, I forget sometimes. Okay, this one. Okay, this one's a little different than most. It goes through here and into. Okay, so I gotta get it out of there. There, push it in and start twisting where it starts biting. And then, same for the bottom. See that boot? I'm trying to get it centered. Then push it in to where it starts biting down. And there it is. We're almost done. Said I made a mess, my bad. I can clean that up in a minute. And so get your ratchet to go the opposite way. And just snug. And then when I mean snug, about give it everything you got once or twice. You don't want to go too overly tight. I'm sure there's a torque for it, but of the hundreds of brake jobs I've done, I may have only torqued it once. It's always been good. And there, your brake job is done. I just take a quick look, make sure nothing's kinked here. And so you rinse and repeat on the other side. So mailman mechanic, don't freak out when your brakes start grinding. If you're gonna, unless this was completely chewed up, like starting to see the little fins on the inside, just put the pads on there, finish your route, plan on getting new rotors next time. Mailman mechanic, see you at the mailbox. If I saw this pulling up, I'm gonna back up a little bit because, ta-da! Obviously she hit something solid, and she hit it more than once, okay? So rural carriers are known for having some messed up vehicles. But you know what? They get beat up, they get tore up. That's why I highly suggest learn how to do your own brakes, learn how to do your maintenance, because you're gonna break stuff. Oh yeah, let me show you this. Duct tape is a mailman's friend, right? Because I scare my family sometimes how close I come zooming up to our mailbox, because I just know exactly how far I need to go. But some people, well.